Let me just get your sense of what we heard. Just in the last hour or so, you probably saw President Trump and the White House sitting alongside King Jordan. And what we heard numerous times and repeatedly was President Trump doubling down on his proposal to take over Gaza. He said, we won't buy it, we will take it, we will run it. How does King Abdullah, I mean, we heard that it just finished in the last 5 minutes or so, this meeting. How does King Abdullah counter this proposal, this narrative, without hindering US-Jordan relations here?
I think it's obvious that the king was trying to walk a fine line between not appearing to be confrontational with the US president and at the same time not acquiescing to what the president is proposing. What the president is proposing serves as no less than an existential threat to the country of Jordan, and therefore Jordan is not in any position to accept what the president is proposing. Remember, Jordan is a country of 8 million people. To take in 1 additional million people is going to pose an economic threat, a security threat, an identity issue for the country. Public opinion is solidly against it, solidly behind the king. So for all these reasons, the king is not in a position to accept. He did not obviously want to have a public confrontation with the president, but I assume that in their closed meeting, the king is going to explain to the president why Jordan is not in any position to accept what is being proposed. Isa, this is frankly ethnic cleansing. This is asking the Palestinians to leave their home, asking them not to return, asking 2 million people to leave their homes and not return. I mean, I don't know what else to call it but ethnic cleansing.
And we heard President Trump claiming US authority over Gaza just in the last hour. And we have also heard him say time and time again, they will do. Speaking of Jordan and Egypt, saying they will do it. He believes that he has the leverage. He said recently, if they don't, I would conceivably, he said, what was it? If they don't, I would conceivably withhold the aid, yes. So he's kind of backtracked on that somewhat. So the question then becomes for a minister, does Jordan, do Arab nations there, does Egypt, do the Saudis, do they present a counter offer, a counter proposition? And what would that look like?
Whatever it looks like, it will have one element, which is Palestinians not leaving their home. If there is to be a reconstruction of Gaza, it can be done while Palestinians stay on their land. But to suggest that they leave and not come back, I mean, frankly, by what right does the US president do this? Suggest that people leave their home and not come back. So I'm positive, and there is an Arab summit at the end of the month. I'm positive that the Arab response is going to insist on Palestinians staying on their land.
Let's speak then about that Arab response, because there is an emergency Arab summit coming up. So what are you hearing, Foreign Minister, about what ideas are being considered at this point?
I think it is likely. I mean, we just heard the president walk back from his suggestion to cut off aid to Egypt and Jordan. That is a positive development. But I think it is likely that in the event that he cuts off assistance, that it is going to be picked up by Arab states at that summit to help not just the Palestinians, but to help countries like Jordan and Egypt. I fully expect that to happen. And then beyond that, any reconstruction is going to insist on Palestinians staying. It is ironic that we are asking poor countries like Jordan and Egypt to pick up reconstruction for something they did not do. After all, it was Israel that caused all this destruction, and yet nothing is being asked of Israel as a result of its action.
And, we're talking about reconstruction, post-war Gaza, but yet it seems, as you probably heard from my correspondent in Tel Aviv, that this ceasefire deal seems to be hanging by a thread with this deadline now from Prime Minister Netanyahu for Saturday, for all hostages to be released by Saturday. What do you make of what we've heard?
Look, I think that Prime Minister Netanyahu has never been serious about the second phase of the ceasefire. A second phase is going to mean that his own government will fall, and that is not something that he is interested in. And therefore, all this talk about a Saturday deadline, I think, just ignores the point that it is, frankly, Israel that does not want to go beyond the first phase. And it has made that very clear. The hostage families are all clear on this point. They are blaming not the Palestinians, they are blaming Prime Minister Netanyahu for not moving ahead seriously with phase two.
Can I ask you, Foreign Minister, as well, as we wait to see what happens, of course, in the negotiations with Hamas in the meantime, the pressure at home, because I have seen, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, protests across Jordan over President Trump's comments, over what's been happening in Gaza for months on end. Just speak to the mood and to these proposals, how they're being received and what pressure that puts on King Abdullah, and whether people in Jordan will be pleased with the King's position today and what he said.
I think public opinion in Jordan is actually working to support King Abdullah's position. Public opinion has probably never been as unified in solidly being behind the king and in opposition to President Trump's statements. I would also go further. The Arab position also, which in recent times has not been unified on almost any issue, the Arab position on this particular issue is extremely unified. There is very strong opposition in the region and, frankly, in the international community about what amounts to ethnic cleansing. President Trump seems to ignore all of this and says that everybody is happy with his plan. But I'm yet to see one country, one Palestinian who is happy with ethnic cleansing.
And we have played a lot of that sound from Palestinians on this show. I, too, have yet to hear one person say they would like to leave. As we've shown our viewers here, several clips of people inside Gaza saying much rather eat the dirt on the ground than leave Gaza. Foreign Minister, I appreciate your time. Very important indeed to get your perspective. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.